And welcome back to the Good Eggs podcast. My name's Anthony McDermott, and today we're joined by one of my really good pals and a real true good egg. It's my friend Mr. Mark Walsh from Lighthouse Therapy Group. How are you doing, Mark? You all right?
Tip-top to but well, not too good. It's the morning after the 5-0 defeat to Nottingham Forest. So.
Hey, what an upsetting night that was, wasn't it? I mean, you work in counselling. I think I'm going to have a triple session after this, to be fair, because Christ
almighty.
almighty.
Sat in front of the mirror all night and I can't even help myself.
It was grim. It was grim. But thanks very much. Finally, we've got you on the pod, which is brilliant. This is now series 4 of these, which is just unreal. Really, we've had tons of great people on, but not my pal Mark, not yet. So here he is, and we're in for a treat today. So as you know, this podcast is all about Mark's journey into becoming a good egg, kind of his life, his career, what's gone well for him, what hasn't gone so well. So let's make a start. So, Mark Walsh, who are you and where are you from?
What a question. Who am I? That's what I usually ask my clients in the first section. Who are you? I'm a bloke from Washington.
So you're born in Washington, yeah?
I was born Sunderland.
Okay.
Got a lot of family from Southwick. But my dad brought us out to Washington when I was 7 months or something like that. And I lived here ever since, apart from a 9-year stretch down in Plymouth. When I was in the Royal Navy, the senior service.
Oh, here we go. I was in the army, Mark was in the Navy, and he loves this every time. But we'll get into that. So you grew up in Washington. What was life like as a young Mark Walsh?
Do you know what? So utterly ordinary, but so utterly brilliant. Yeah, I was really fortunate not to have any drama. Come from a working class family. My mum and dad both worked. My dad was a grave digger. It's a bit of a dead end job, but you know.
Was he actually a grave digger? Like an actual grave digger?
He was a grave
really?
digger.
All right.
In the days before they had machines to do it, so the graves he dug, he had to do by hand.
That's a proper job, that one, isn't it? Not like us.
Especially kind of December, January time, trying to dig kind of 9 foot down in freezing soil. But I had an older sister, and it was just your stereotypical, 2 parents, 2 kids, 2 parents that absolutely adored each other. An older sister that used to beat the shit out of us. It was a great childhood, and that's something I always kind of look back on with real fondness, because it was the simplicity that made it brilliant. There was nothing overly great, there was nothing kind of terrible, it was just a really, really solid family.
Love that. So as a young man, cutting about on the streets of Southwick and in Washington, what kind of adulthood did you think was coming of you? Did you think you were to follow in your dad's footsteps and dig graves, or what was your kind of aspirations as a younger man?
Well, but the old man was actually ex-Navy as well. So,
okay, right.
I grew up to stories of him travelling. So I grew up stories of all the stuff he used to do in the Navy, and he was a Ganges rating. So he joined when he was 15. So he kind of fled home because his upbringing wasn't good. So he fled home at 15, joined the Navy. So I grew up to all these stories. And we had a camping trip in France. I think I must have been about 14, 15 myself. And we're coming back on the ferry, and my dad took us on the upper scupper, on the upper deck, and I was just looking out at sea, and there was just like nothing. Right. And my dad was just talking. He says, you like your sports, you like your travel. Have you ever thought about joining the military, joining the Navy? And that kind of planted the seed.
Right.
So I applied for the Navy when I was 16, but I was too young. But they accepted us when I was 17.
Okay. So literally left school. Did you do any jobs in between? Did you do any kind of officey job, paper rounds, anything like that? Or was it literally...
I kind of, because when I got turned down for the first time, so I was too young. I was leaving school, and then I was like, well, I've got some time to kill. I can't join the Navy till I'm 17. So I was just lying in bed every day. And then my dad walked in one morning. He says, well, you can either go to college do a year at college or whatever, or you go and get a job, but you're not sitting around doing nothing. So I was kind of 16-year-old. I was like, oh bloody hell. Tried a couple of jobs, and I ended up I was 16-year-old in a double glazing factory in Washington, and I was the only person in the whole factory that hadn't been in prison. So I was like, son, this, I said, get me signed up for Shiny Road College. I did about 9 months at Shiny Road College before I went and joined the Navy.
Love that. But that's good though. Obviously, your dad obviously had that working class roots as you talked about, and he clearly wanted you to have those values as well, which I know is something that you talk about with your own family these days. But yeah, so that's great that your dad was really keen to instill that in you, and I guess that's kind of lived on through your whole life, hasn't it?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Even now, I mean, we're recording this on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, so you joined the Navy at 17. So tell us a little bit about what that looked like then.
It certainly wasn't all the kind of the fun that me dad made it out to be. I was 17. I was so skinny.
Right.
I had bright ginger hair. From the northeast of England, down in Plymouth.
Is that where you went, Plymouth? Yeah, is that where you started off? Yeah.
HMS Raleigh
Okay.
for basic training, and I signed up. Was it January the 6th?
Day before my birthday.
Is it? Well, what a great day that was. It was so all was it 8 weeks basic training, and that was all kind of January and February.
Right.
And
Okay.
it was just absolute hell. Now I look back now and I'm like, oh, that wasn't me.
Right.
But the challenges, we used to have a division officer, Lieutenant Percival, and he wanted to be the special operations or something.
Right.
So
Okay.
he used to kind of drag us out of our kind of mess deck at 3 o'clock in the morning to do the assault course and everything. And he took it way above and beyond what Royal Navy kind of should be doing.
Do you think he was a bit of a bully, or do you think it was just because he was that dedicated, or?
It was his way. It was his character. He was an officer in supply, but he
Right.
actually wanted to be special operations himself. So he kind of carried on that attitude. He thought he was like that bloody drill sergeant from bloody
Oh, yeah, Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. Yeah, there's me, bloody Corporal Pyle.
Well, that must have been a shock to the system, though, obviously, from working in, double glazing factory, then being at college and being around, well, kids really, and you were still a kid yourself. That must have been a real, even if your dad had been in the Navy, like, I still guess it doesn't, as you mentioned, doesn't prepare you for what life's like.
No, nothing at all could have prepared you for that.
Yeah.
And I believe it's changed a lot now, because I've had clients who are still serving in the Royal Navy, and when working with them, I can see how much the whole Royal Navy has changed.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is back in the days where you still smoked down the mess deck.
Right.
You go down, well, 2 or 3 decks below the waterline.
Yeah.
You've got 54 men just sat there in this cloud of smoke, and I'm like, fucking hell, what the hell's this?
Do you know, I was talking to someone the other day about when I was in the army, and I smoked when I was in the army purely because everybody smoked, and actually, if you smoked, what it meant is that you got an extra break, because you would have a cigarette break, and you were like, so literally you had all these. I joined at 16, similar to yourself, and you had all these 16-year-old kids who didn't particularly want to smoke, but because you got an extra break, off we went down. It's just incredible, like the whole different culture, isn't it? Different life, I guess.
Oh, God. Well, I was actually religious in training.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I turned to religion. Because I clicked on that if you go to church, you get a nice cup of tea and a biscuit. You used to get out of cleaning for an hour. You used to go down with a padre, the chaplain, have a cup of tea, biscuit. I'm like, oh, it's a nice hour off. So thank God for church.
Hey, we used to go to church as well. We used to get made to go every Sunday. Well, actually, it was every fortnight on a Sunday. But do you know what? I really like that, because it was, I'm not particularly religious, never have been, but I really like that instilling those values in you. And actually, this is our country's belief, blah, 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 blah. Give you that time to get together, talk to the padre, whatever. I quite liked it, to be honest. And People often now, when I tell them that, they're like, "What were you doing in church?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but it was all right. Like, I didn't mind it." And because it's aimed at the forces, it'll be the same for you. It probably wasn't like church like it is for most people. I mean, it was a bit sweary and a bit this and a bit that. But I had biscuits. I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm so atheist. Yeah?
Right, okay.
I am a complete atheist, but I love church.
Yeah.
I love religion, and even the kind of the moral stories and all that it teaches us. You know, what's one of the saying? As I walk down the valley of the shadow of death, and I'm like, fucking hell, that's powerful, isn't it? That, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. You know what? Like, I'm like you. I'm not particularly religious. I don't really believe in any of it, really. But I just think if that's what gets somebody through the day, that's what gets somebody through life. If that's what they believe in, do you know what? Who am I to question that? And you know, lots of the stories and the fables or whatever they may be that have come out with it. You're right. They teach us something, don't they? It's yeah. I quite like it in a weird sort of way.
Well, often my favourite clients are religious clients, because they'll come in and they'll say kind of, oh yeah, Christianity or kind of religion is really important to me, and I'm like, and I'll make it clear from the beginning. So, well, I'm not religious, but I have a real appreciation and respect for religion. Is that okay for you? And the conversations we have, and I think you're absolutely right. Whatever gets you through the day, if you've got something that you can kind of hold on and say, well, you know what, I believe in this, I like this, it gives me comfort against the barrage of shite that I'm up against every day.
Exactly.
Like, bloody good for you, pal.
And we all are. We're all up against them. I'm sure we'll come into it. But life is shit these days. It's actually, hang on, life is difficult. Life is challenging. Life can be shit. Like, you know, we're a lot busier in our brains and the way we have to do things and the way we have to script and save or whatever. Or, you know, we don't live the lives that perhaps we should be living at this stage of Earth. But, you know, having that funnel, that outlet, you know, good for anyone who does it. I wish in a way I had something like that to hang on to be honest.
Well, you know, do you realise, or to a degree we do, our religion is Sunderland DFC.
Yeah, that's true.
So I remember years ago I was at the club and I was talking to some of the people at the academy, and they said, well, why is football so important? I says, well, it is the thing that gets a whole city through the barrage of shite that we're up against. You know, times in Sunderland have been bloody hard.
Yeah, they have.
You know, and what do we have? You know, on a Saturday afternoon instead of a Sunday morning, we have the football where we can all congregate.
Yeah.
We can all worship the likes of kind of Kevin Phillips and Niall Quinn.
Yeah.
And kind of that just gets us through the week.
No, I think you're totally right, especially for a city like Sunderland, or any working class city or town across the UK, really. It's that one common bond. I often think about when I go to away matches, and you're like a tribe. There's like 2,000 of you. You're just there, but you've got each other. It's like going into war, and it doesn't matter if the club, you know, whether it's Newcastle, or whether it's Yeovil Town, it doesn't matter. It's about having that tribal, we're together, we're this gang of people, and actually we're coming into your town, city, whatever, to watch our heroes. And yeah, it's amazing. And you know, the city at the moment, as we know, where the city of Sunderland is on the rise, there's lots of great changes happening, but I really believe everything in this city is driven by the football club. Everything. If the football club weren't having the, you know, for us, the level of success that it's having at the moment, and let's be honest, this is bang average for lots of big clubs, but for us, this is amazing. You know, everybody benefits. You know, the bars are busy, the restaurants are busy. It has a massive knock-on effect for the economy. It's pretty brilliant, isn't it?
Even the people in work, you know, stood around kind of water coolers and all that. People in the factories, you know, there's a buzz, there's an energy.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what Sunderland DFC is, a religion. So when you hear people say it's just a game, technically, it's just a game. But when you look at the meaning of it, you know, for people who are going through real struggles and all that, it's right up there.
Well, if you look at it as well, a working class city, and 1 in 9 residents in this city has a season ticket. 1 in 9. We're a working class city that doesn't have much money, yet people will pay their hard-earned cash. And I don't know how much the cheapest season ticket is, 450 quid maybe, maybe it's a bit cheaper, but it's a lot of money. And the same people will travel up and down the country week. And, you know, no disrespect, but you look at them and go, crikey, what are you? And you get taught to them, and they've got a very, you know, minimum wage job or whatever, and still they do it because this is their thing, this is their passion. You're right, it's the bit that drives us. It's fascinating to watch, isn't it?
Well, this is the key. You know, when people say I mean, I work with clients all the time that come up with things. I just want to be happy, and I'm like, well, forget that idea. Yeah, forget that. If you hear anybody say, I just want to be happy, tell them to forget it. It's a pointless pursuit. What you need to do is you need to find some kind of meaning.
Yeah,
once you find meaning, that's when happiness is the byproduct of meaning. So football, you know, Sunderland DFC, carries great meaning to me, especially because I used to go with my old man. I mean, he's no longer with us. Yeah, so he used to take me to Roker Park, and he used to stand in the football end. And when the stadium of light opened, he got a season ticket, his first ever season ticket, and he had that seat every single season. And when we lost him, what was it, 8 years ago now, I contacted the club. I said, can I take over his seat? So the club said, yeah, no problem. So now I've got his seat. So that seat's been in our family since the stadium opened.
That's amazing.
So the meaning behind it. So you were saying before we started, why did you stay to the end last night? I'm with my dad.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm sat with my dad and had a chat with him and everything and put the world to rights. So it's meaning, and the football club at last is giving us some kind of meaningful relationship back.
I love that. And you know, you're right, whether it's religion, whether it's a football club, whatever it is, find your thing, man. Yes. Whether it's Star Wars, whether it's a cat, whether it's a dog, whether it's a bow and arrow, whatever, find your thing, man. Like,
100%.
It's great.
But it is a challenge, though. It's never going to come. It's not. Nobody's going to give you it. Yeah. Nobody's going to kind of come and say, well, you know what? And here's this thing. This is going to give you great meaning. Yeah. You've got to kind of, and every individual have got to open up their mind and say, well, you know what? Oh, I like this. Yeah. How's this going to evolve into something? Oh, yeah, I'm getting really into this now. And then it becomes something.
Love that. Getting back to you, we can just talk all day, which is great. Getting back to you, so you're in the Navy, you're 17, 18-year-old at this point. What was your first deployment? Can you remember? Go back to what your first one was.
First deployment, because we did our specialist training in Portsmouth, HMS Dryad, because my role was underwater warfare, so we had to kind of hunt for enemy submarines and destroy them. So our training was HMS Dryad, and I think that was 3 or 4 months,
right,
something like that. And then I got my first sea draft, and I phoned my old man up, and I was dead excited. I said, Dad, I've got my first sea draft. You know, I was a grown man, got my first sea draft, and my dad, he never got any further than the Mediterranean.
Right.
He was part of a conflict off Cyprus when that was going through some hard time, and then he was involved in what he called the Cod War, when there was lots of kind of dodgy stuff going up the North Atlantic. I think it was the Spanish or the French trying to pinch our cod. so he was involved in all of that. So he never got further than the North Atlantic or the Med.
Right.
So I says, Dad, I've got my first sea draft. He says, oh, brilliant, son, where are you off to? I says, well, to start with, we're going down the west coast of Africa. We're then going into to South Africa, where we're helping the South African Navy celebrate their anniversary. So we've got a good couple of weeks in South Africa. And then we're travelling up the east coast of Africa. Then we've got 3 months in the Middle East. Then we're off to the Far East for a couple of months, where we're going to be ceremonial handover ship for Hong Kong. So we've got a month in Hong Kong. Then we've got 2 weeks station leave as a thank you in Thailand. then we're back to the Middle East for another 3 months to do some operational stuff there. Then we're coming back through the Suez, back through the Med and back home. He just hung up on us. And I called him back later, so I'm like, you ginger bastard. Yeah, that was my first draft, HMS Chatham, the upper
That's a
end.
hell of a what an experience that must be as a young man as well, or a young man from Washington, to get. And this is the thing with all the forces, isn't it? Go out and see the world where you can, or any line of life really. It's get out and see stuff, man. That must have been a real You must have learned a lot in that experience.
Do you know what? I still look back on it a lot, and that experience was just that. There's no words to describe how awesome that was. But at the same time, I'm acutely aware I was not prepared.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
I was by the time we got there, I was 18.
Yeah.
At 18, and you're in amongst your military unit, and this sounds weird, but when you join your first mess deck as a junior sailor, you get what's known as a sea dad.
Okay.
So it's like a senior figure that kind of looks after you.
Well, I'm not going to plot these Navy rumours like Mark Walker. I'm not going to go there with you and your sea dad.
See, in this day and age, you come up with terms like that, it sounds terrible, doesn't it? But I had this sea dad, and it was Robbie Roberts, and he was a beast of a man.
Okay.
He was a beast. He never used to, because when you used to kind of finish a night out and head back to the ship, you used to try and find some local big eats.
Right.
Yeah, try and find some like pizza or kebab or whatever. And he never used to buy anything. And I used to always drag this back to the ship. I'm like, why do you never buy anything? He says, don't worry, Ginger, there's going to be lots of food in the bin.
Yeah.
So he used to just go in the bloody bin in the mess deck, get everybody's leftover kebab, pizza, curry, and all that. But he was kind of in charge to kind of look after us.
Right.
And so this is the environment I'm in. I'm 18-year-old. I'm from a very, very stereotypical family in Sunderland and Washington. I've got no real kind of experience of any of this. All of a sudden I've got a really decent paycheck. I mean, it was only a couple $100 a month you were getting. But back then it was like, well, that was good pay. All that went on booze and partying. And that kind of, without realising, but that actually kind of set the foundation for a path of not looking after myself the way I should have.
100%.
It kind of set the path of maybe too much drink, too much partying, because it was like you go from kind of school, that little job in a kind of double glazing factory, a stupid little kind of couple of months at Shiny Road College, training at Plymouth, and then all of a sudden I'm into this world.
And also, while you're training, being told you're the best, you're the best, you're the best. God, constantly reinforcing. So all of a sudden, you're right, you pop out of the factory, you're 18, 19-year-old, and you're like, I'm the best, I've got loads of money, I'm untouchable. It's really unhealthy, isn't it, when you look back?
If you look at the psychology of everything that's going on, it's just bonkers. I mean, our divisional officer in basic training, Lieutenant Percival, because we went to because every now and then, it was every Friday night we used to have the bop. Yeah, so the HMS rally, they'd have a bar and like a discotheque and whatnot. I'm coming up with all the words today on that discotheque and bop.
And the bop. I've got like this 1960s haircut in my head of you, just dancing around with some grandma.
That sounds, quite accurate. But because we're rocked up at the bop on a Friday night, because after you did so long in basic training, you were allowed to go down the kind of bop. But we'd rock up at the naffy, you're trying to get in there, and it turns away, well, you're only 17, you can't drink. Oh, bloody hell. But then we got back to our mess, and our lieutenant marched us all down, and he kind of took us in. He got the kind of manager of the naffy, he says, that these are kind of Royal Navy sailors. These are trained to go to war. These are trained to kind of do what you necessarily can't do. They're old enough to drink. So even at 17, we're being told and kind of reinforced, well, you know what, get a pint in your hand.
I have a similar experience. So I joined at 16. I was in Germany by the time I was 17. 17-year-old in Germany, earning about £1,400 a month, which was a lot of money. Cash in hand as well in those days. You had to go in, stamp your tabs in, get given cash. And I remember going to Germany, and I'd already fell under the drinking culture because that's what squaddies did. and you were told you're the best, you're the best, you're the hardest, you're this, blah blah blah. So I went to Germany, and actually, and in many ways now I look back and think that was a real shit part of my life. But I loved it at the time. God, it was great, right? I remember we were out every night, and I mean every night. People say, yeah. I mean, no. 7 o'clock you'd be out till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. You would get up at 6 on parade, bright as a button, fine. You would go out, and that was the cycle for a couple of years actually, which is not healthy. But the other thing that was additionally not healthy was I remember on a Friday we used to do commanding officers PT, CO's PT. So we'd all go out for a run or whatever. So you'd go and do a 10-mile run, whatever, something big on the morning. You'd come back, and then basically you'd be ordered to go to the bar. You were ordered to go to the bar, and you were not allowed to leave the bar. I mean, this is crazy. So you drank 2 pints of lager minimum. Yeah. Minimum. You're not allowed to go anywhere until you were forced to drink 2 pints of lager. Now that is just people. You tell people that to, and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, honestly, that's what used to happen, and it was unreal. The culture of drinking was just, and you didn't realise you were doing anything. Well, you weren't doing anything wrong. You were just living your life. But wow, I mean, yeah,
it was brutal.
Yeah,
the whole partying and drinking culture
was
brutal.
Yeah,
and I mean, because I mean, in the Navy, you had like because we had what we call steaming bats, so they can't steal toe cap boots.
Right.
Now, if you'd done something wrong or something, or there's a celebration, you would have to drink about 3 cans of beer out of your steaming bat. So this is a shoe that you wear every single day on a warship. So it's absolutely mighty. So if you do something wrong, the more senior members of the mess, they kind of empty a couple of cans of beer in your steaming bat, and you've got to drink this.
Unreal.
And it was just a given.
Yeah. And you don't even question it. You just do it, don't you? I remember.
Honestly, the stories that I tell about drinking is just unreal.
Oh, I mean, the worst one for me as a Fusilier was, not the worst, it was the best at the time, but when I look back, it was, so St George's Day was our regimental day, so 23rd of April, and you'd, so on a morning, you would be in your beds, and about 4 o'clock in the morning, you would hear drums and trombones and whatever else, the band would come down the block, bang, 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 get out of bed. All the officers were there. The officers would drag you out of bed. You were given a port, right? Just given a port. Drink the port, right? Right, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, right? You don't know whether you're coming or going. You get up. You get in your best gear. You go down for breakfast. Officers would wait on the junior members of battalions. So all the officers are giving you breakfast, and there's beer, by the way. So by 5, 6 o'clock, you're pretty pissed. Then you would go back, you would have maybe half an hour to chill out, you'd get changed, you'd go on parade where the families and everything. I mean, the families came onto camp and you were there just sozzled at like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it was just unreal. And then the real fun started, so then you would go for a regimental dinner and again, just plied with drink. I mean, I remember just vomiting on the side of my, I just got in the mess, vomiting at the side of my table into a bucket, and then just go and wipe my mouth and on you go. I mean, it was insanity. And then we would just spend the rest of the day just drinking. To the point where there was one year where we had a pool on camp in Germany, bizarrely, I don't know why, but we did. We had this swimming pool and we filled it up with beer. I mean, it was just, and you just drink. And then basically we had this big competition. There's about 30 of us. We're like, right, we're going to drink the pool dry. And we literally did. Like, and that was normal. That was just, and it wasn't even normal. It wasn't encouraged. You had to do it. You couldn't say, oh no, I don't want that drink, sir. No. I mean, mad.
It was expected. But there used to be a pub outside of one of the gates in Plymouth Dockyard called the Avondale Arms. Okay. And that used to open up, I think it was about 6:30 every morning. Because all the field gun crew and all that go for their training. Right. So the Avondale Arms used to open up stupid o'clock in the morning. And used to have sailors in there coming off watch. Yeah, so they'd come off watch maybe 8 o'clock, by 8:30 in the Avondale Arms. No word of a lie, they'd be having the breakfast, which consisted of a bowl of cornflakes with bloody beer on it instead of milk.
Fucking hell, man.
And it was just a given.
Yeah.
Just such a given.
And you know what? You look at now with soldiers, you look at veteran organisations that are dealing with soldiers who have challenges, and it was because of this behaviour. I've had my challenges, you've had yours. You have these challenges because of the behaviour that was bred into you. Yeah. And at the time, it's a laugh. Way, it's great. But but actually you pay the price down the line, you know, and the amount of soldiers that fall into alcoholism, you know, drugs, whatever it may be, various addictions is. I don't believe these people were born like that. Some of them might have been, but it's because of the behaviours
Exactly.
they were taught. I believe that.
Well, it's largely romanticised as well, isn't it? I mean, but we're talking these stories, and you know, and there's, I mean, I'm aware some of your audience as well might not want to hear some of the stories that I've got, but it's like, even talking about them, I'm feeling nostalgia.
Yeah.
I'm feeling, oh, that was fucking awesome, and it wasn't. It wasn't awesome. It was it was this thing, but
if you think about it now, right? So you're a 17, 18-year-old young lad, right? If you were that now 17, 18-year-old lad, and a bloke about 30-year-old, right, was dragging you out by your hand, feeding you full of drink and doing all sorts of games or whatever, because that's what used to happen. Like, you know, you would be like, "Wow, a minute, that's not right. There's something really inappropriate about that whole situation." If somebody worked for you, who was 17, 18, and you were dragging them out every night on the beer, forcing them to get drunk, you would go to jail. Like, there's no two ways about it.
It's also the women element as well.
Yeah.
So you used to get dragged out, you used to get dragged into booze, and you used to get, you know, put with these, you know, very, very, very loose, friendly women. So but you're right, if you do that in today's day and age, and this is actually one of my biggest fears for Archie. I mean, my boy, he's 11.
Yeah.
So it's like, I look at him now, and he plays on his Minecraft with his pals online, and he still kind of plays with some dinosaurs and everything. And I'm like, you know what? Well, he's 12 coming up in July, so five and a bit years time, he is me in Rally, HMS Rally.
Yeah.
Them numbers don't fucking compute to me.
I know.
I'm just like, poof.
I mean,
that's my biggest fear, Archie getting dragged into something, into a world like that.
But you know what, Mark? I think those days are probably gone. Society's changed, hasn't it? I think young people are like younger. You know, I look at young men now who I still see as boys, like 25, 26, and I'm like, Christ, you like me when I was 10? Like, I was 22 on the front line in Afghanistan. You know, you'd have had similar experience. But kids just aren't like that anymore. I feel like we were rushed through life a little bit, I guess.
I think you hit on a really, really good point. So when people are looking at why is the younger generation really struggling now, and it's like, well, that they're not really being given the opportunity to mature successfully until well into the 20s. You know, it's like 25 before they really kind of start giving any real independence.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it was my last ship, HMS Campbelltown. And I went down the mess deck, and I literally had 2 bags. I just chucked them on my new bed in the mess deck. So I was down to the zoo, chucked them on the mess deck, and I went to the mess square, and I says, right, who's coming down the Queen's Dock, which was my local in Plymouth, and they've all got laptops. So this is only over a period of kind. I mean, so go from kind of, I mean, what was it, 96 I joined. 2004 I left, so this is about 2003, so it's not a long gap of time. But I went to the mess deck and I said to everybody, who's coming down the pub? And one of them turned around and says, I can't because I'm on the final round of Doom. Of course, by this time I was a leading hand, and I'm like, you fucking what? And looking back now, I realise I'm part of that culture that is kind of trying to drag young lads into a toxic culture.
Yeah. The funny thing is,
all they want to do is to play on the computer game.
Which has probably gone too far, isn't it? With looking at a society issue, there has to be a middle ground, doesn't it? Because we were probably dragged up too fast and too harshly, or whatever. But on the flip side, kids who are playing on their iPads till they're 26 on Candy Crush is also a worry, isn't it? Because there's a bloody big world out there, and I don't know about your boy, but you don't see kids on bikes outside, you don't see kids playing footy anymore, you don't see them falling over and scraping their knees, and you don't see any of that anymore. Not that I want to see loads of kids outside scraping their knees, but you take me, you get my point. It's
but it's the lessons that kids used to learn from
that. Of course it is.
Kids don't have the opportunity now to kind of really go out there, make mistakes, find the way around the neighbourhoods, you kind of do things wrong, get the consequence of doing things wrong, learning from it, adapting from it, and growing from it. They don't have these opportunities anymore.
Yeah. I'm a great believer in you have to be broken to be able to be fixed and be stronger. I'm a really big believer in that. And I think, whether that's a small thing, or a large thing, I really think that you can't be the best version of you until you've felt some pain or some suffering or some challenges. And I feel like
that's how we learn.
Yeah, and we wrap people up far too much these days. It's this left-wing woke, world of snowflakism, isn't it? It's without going on to a tangent, but it's we have to let people make mistakes, and actually we have to tell people there's boundaries and blah blah blah. So yeah, totally get it.
But it's the same when I'm working with families. Sometimes families will come to us and they're worried about the children and whatnot, or might be some parents in the counselling section that talking about the anxieties of children. And I always say we have this kind of initial need to kind of wrap our kids in bubble wrap.
Yeah.
And say, you know what, stay over here, stay away from that world, that's fucking horrible. Yeah. Stay here. But I always try and tell parents, I say, it's not our job just to protect our children.
Yeah.
We have to prepare them. Because the time will come when we're no longer here. The touch wood, long time from now, I'll not be here.
Yeah.
And Archie my son, he has to have a way of kind of being able to manage the world without me. If we pamper them and if we can just protect them, they don't learn that ability. Yeah. So we have to not just protect them, but we have to prepare them. But we live in a world that's not doing that at the
No,
minute.
absolutely not. So going back to your Navy days, so you've, I guess, towards the end of your naval time, how long were you in? 8, 9 years, is that right, Mark?
It was about 9 years.
9 years, so had a great career, obviously loved it. At what point did you start thinking this isn't for me anymore, or was it a decision that was taken in your hands? How did that kind of come to an end for you?
It was. I was getting in a lot of trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was drinking way too much. It got to a point, and I'm always reluctant about kind of maybe going down the sob story, because this is not what it is. It's like I'm never after any sympathy or anything like that. I was going through a bottle of brandy a day.
Wow.
Even to a point where I was kind of secretly drinking when on watch.
Yes.
I used to be stood on a gangway with a loaded rifle as a quartermaster, with a bloody hip flask in my pocket.
Yeah.
And every now and then it was being... And so I was getting into way too much trouble. I was fighting with my own mental health. So that's when I decided, enough's enough. But I just phoned my mother first, said, can I come home? And they said yes. So it was 2004 I left.
Okay.
And since 2004, I've been, without really realising it, I've been on a kind of mission to try and really kind of build who I believe I actually am.
Yeah, get that.
Because when you join something like the forces, and I mean, during my Bachelor of Arts from my counselling, my dissertation, I did a research article on the difficulties that veterans face when transitioning into civilian life.
Interesting.
And it's, if you don't mind saying, it's a fascinating read. But it's like, what happens is when people join the Navy, especially at a young age, because if you look at when an individual hits maybe kind of 16 to 21, 22, that's a fundamental age gap of when an individual starts forming their own identity. They start kind of challenging the significant caregivers, the parents and all that. They start saying, well, you know what, that doesn't make sense for me, I'm more like this. The problem is when you join the military, what happens? You get marched in and you kind of get all your clothes taken off, and you get given a set of overalls, you get your head shaved, and then you say, right, you are now Walsh Delta 236 233 Bravo. Okay, that's who I am. And so you get given a military identity. And then when people go through the military, that's who they are. So I was Ginge. Some people try to call us George, but I kind of stamped down on that straight away. I'm not fucking Geordie. but so you get given this identity, and then I still remember when I left the Navy, I had two bags full of clothes, I had a hip flask full of brandy, and I think I had about 13 grand's worth of debt. Wow. And that's all I had. And I did all my paperwork to leave, and I got to the Drake main gate, and the civilian copper there, he says, have you got your ID card? And I give him my ID card. So this is the ID that I've been given. This is the identity I've been given from the Royal Navy. He took a pair of scissors, and I said, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So who are we from that point?
Mm.
So that's kind of what I've been doing ever since then, is try and kind of figure out who I am, what I am. And I don't think we ever kind of get there. I think it's just the process of becoming. So I kind of flitted between jobs and whatnot and different. I mean, I was fitting bathrooms for a while, and then I was fixing doors for property maintenance companies, and then I was truck driving around Europe. You know, sprinter vans around Europe, bus driving, delivering pizzas, and then I kind of got to the point, well, am I going to be doing this forever? And then I decided to kind of learn something, which was counselling, and then that kind of went down the educational path and led me here.
Yeah, just cut the points people on. So you're right. I think people who come out with forces, that bit of this is you, now you're gone, that's horrendous. I think it's probably changed now, but I think I and many others can definitely resonate with that. It's you're right. This is, you know, your whole life was that card. You're a number and a name. That's it. Your surname, blood one for me, blood type. I thought I was a state in the Navy. Yeah, it wasn't a blood type, surname, and a number. That was it. That was my identity. And I was similar. You come out and it's like, shit. Well, now what? And they used to talk about these packages and there's this and it's that, but what a load of nonsense. We'll help you write the CV. Well, that's great. But actually, nobody wants us because I'm a skinhead who likes to fight, likes to drink, and, you know, the civvy world isn't ready for me and I'm not ready for it. Yeah. So I totally get that. And actually, what you mentioned there was going around kind of job hopping for a number of years and different things. That's not, that's not abnormal for armed forces veterans. You know, it's pretty normal that they come out and they're just really lost and trying to find their place in the world again. And that's really shit, to be honest. You know, for people who have served our country, men and women who've done their time, whether that's 6 months, a year, or 50 years, it doesn't matter. They've done their bit, and actually we repay them by leaving them in a mess and a jumble in society. I mean, we've got to do better, really, haven't we?
Oh, but do you know what? Whenever I'm working with a new client, they'll come in, they'll kind of say, well, you know what, I've got this going on. Like, okay, well, we'll look at them briefly, but then near the end of the session, I'll ask one key question. And I'll just sit opposite someone and say, who are you? Yeah. And I've never, ever, ever, 8 years I've been in business now, I've never known anybody to kind of really find that comfortable, that question comfortable or easy, or even be able to answer it.
Interesting.
Because one of the greatest forms of despair is to lose a sense of who we are.
Yeah.
We end up getting dragged down other paths. We kind of come off our authentic path, and we're kind of living some kind of life, and we become a puppet. And that's where people are really struggling. So if you say to somebody, who are you? Try it. Maybe with Emma later on, just kind of what I say, Emma, who are you?
Yeah.
And it's a really difficult question. And it's not something that's it's just something that happens.
Yeah, no, I love that. So, how on earth did a boy from Washington who joined the Navy, who jumped around and did lots of jobs, end up going down the path that you're now on, I guess? So, find education, or did you go looking for education, or how did that work?
Well, I got with the love of my life, Lindsay. That was what 17 blissful years ago. 17 years, Jesus.
Wow.
We got together. The joy of Facebook. When I left the Navy, I kind of we connected on Facebook. We met up a couple of times, started a relationship. She was going through some mental health challenges, and I wanted to understand her, and it was purely simple as that. And I found myself I was driving wagons around Europe and everything, and I'm like, well, I want to understand her, so I end up looking for a kind of basic mental health course, or some kind of awareness. And Sunderland College did access to higher education course. I think it was about level 3 or 4, something like that, level 3. I said, oh, I'll give that a try. And it was interesting, I phoned them up, and I said, I want to kind of learn something, I want to do something, I want to kind of broaden my mind and everything. He says, oh, well, we can, but you need to enroll tomorrow. That's when the enrollment is. I was like, oh, shit. I said, so I was driving buses, I was on a 4-day working week as well, so I had an 11-hour shift driving buses at that point. And so I kind of turned around and said, right, I'm going to throw a sickie. Threw a sickie with Go North East, and went and enrolled on this course. And it was a part-time course on an evening and whatnot. My lecturer, brilliant bloke, Richie, and we did a year of that, and then he turned around and says, well, why don't we do the kind of the foundation degree of counselling? And I was like, I can't do that. I'm a washed up drunken sailor. You know, you're talking about a degree here. No, I can't do that. But that was the firm belief that I had in my mind. And he said, no, you could. So I ended up kind of enlisting on the foundation degree. That was a 2-year course, part-time. So I did that while I was working full-time driving buses. And then he says, well, why don't you go on and do the Bachelor of Arts? And I was like, well, now you really are taking the piss. Bachelor of Arts, really? But I was getting distinctions through everything. It appeared that I'd found something that was actually me.
I love that.
Without kind of really realising everything just fitted. So I went on and did the top-up, and whilst I was doing the top-up, I decided, and I was driving out of Newcastle, it was a Saturday night, because to fit all my kind of college work in, I found myself having to kind of work every Tuesday to do the counselling course, but then I had to have my placement hours, which is a Thursday. So I had to have them 2 days off. So what I used to have to go do is in the depot, I used to say to the lads, who's working Saturday and Sunday? You know, I'm working Saturday and Sunday. So, well, I'll do your Saturday and Sunday if you do my Tuesday and Thursday.
Oh, they're over the moon, aren't they?
Yeah, oh Christ, they were laughing all the way at the bank. But then, so for basically 2 years, I was working every weekend, working all week, studying all week as well. You know, it was a foundation degree, so it was pretty hefty assignments. And then I was driving out of Newcastle one Saturday night on the X1, and all the drunks in there, and I thought, what the fuck am I going to do? Yeah, I've been studying for years now. I've got this knowledge, I've got this this skill. Am I honestly just going to drive buses? No disrespect to driving buses, you know?
No.
It's brilliant, but that's when I decided to set up Lighthouse Therapy Group.
So what year is this, Mark, at this point? Is this 2018? No.
It was 2018.
Okay. God, that was good knowledge of me, wasn't it, eh?
Yeah.
So 2018, you decide, I'm going to set a business up. And obviously at this point, you've never ran a business. Nobody you're close to has probably run a business, I suspect. And you've got this degree, you've got this knowledge, you've got these skills, and you're thinking, right, I'm going to do something for myself. What did you do next, and how did you get to the next step, I guess?
Well, believe it or not, driving the buses was actually the perfect place for us, because driving the buses allowed me mind to kind of like just explore things. And then in between kind of shifts and everything, I'd be looking up things, I'd be studying. And then I found a place close to both of our hearts, the BIC. And I contacted them, and I think it was Margaret who I spoke to, which was in the business setup section.
Okay.
She's helped me set up as a sole trader.
Okay.
And I went and saw her and everything. I'm like, I'm looking to do this, and they give us some advice and help. They showed us a counselling room. They showed us kind of 2 rooms. They showed us one like on the riverside.
Nice.
They says, we've got this room here, and I looked out the window, it was overlooking the car park. They said, but we've got this one upstairs, and it was overlooking the river with the new Spire Bridge and everything.
Lovely.
And I was like, it was extra 200 quid a bloody month, like. So I looked at that, and then this Margaret, she was helping me set up as a sole trader, and she printed all the paperwork off to set up as a sole trader, and I was trying to sign it, and I was shaking. She says, what's the matter here? I said, well, you know what, I've been in some very, very dodgy situations and I've been fine. But this, I'm terrified.
Right.
Because it was the real biggest step into the complete unknown.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no idea whatsoever. So I signed all the paperwork. I then went down to see the rooms, and they were showing us a room. I just took a leap of faith. I said, I'll take this one that's overlooking the river.
Okay.
And I just thought, if you're going to do it, just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Take that leap of faith and just see how it goes.
We see that all the time with entrepreneurs, in particular social entrepreneurs. Actually, don't we? People who've got really good hearts, but they don't believe that they've got business brain or business acumen. And actually, nobody has, right? Nobody was born like Boss Baby, right? And came out of the womb and was like, right, I know finance, I know HR, blah blah. Nobody does that, right? Nobody. Alan Sugar, Richard Branson, nobody. Actually, sometimes you've just got to take that leap of faith and actually learn as you go. And do you know what? I always say this to people. As long as it's not going to set on fire, who gives a shit? Just try it. If it doesn't set on fire, and even if it does set on fire, fine, we'll put the fire out, we move on, we learn how to not set the fire next time.
And it was interesting. I was stood in that office, which is going to be my office, and the one thing that was just in my head was my boy Archie, and I was thinking about him and feel quite emotional seeing this actually. And I was looking at my whole life as well, everything I'd been through, and I'm like, well, what do I want for him?
Yeah.
And I can't tell him he has to go and live his life, because then it's me telling him what to do. And I don't want to put a kind of blind faith and look. So I says the only authentic thing I can do to help Archie is to set the example.
Yeah.
I had to walk the walk, so he can see it, he can experience it. And if he experiences doing something that's totally outlandish, just totally, it doesn't make much sense, but you know what, fuck it. If he sees that his dad can do it, and he can actually survive and everything's alright, it'll give him the confidence that when it comes his time to kind of go and venture to do his life, he'll have the experience that, well, you know what, it can be done.
Love that.
So it's just setting the kind of the marker for it.
Yeah, and that's leadership, isn't it? Whether that's in your family life, your home life, your business life, it's leadership. Lead from the front. Show people this is how I'm going to try and do it. This is I'm going to put my foot out there, and actually others, family, whatever, they shall follow, because actually that's the example. I'm a great believer. I take this in my day-to-day life, and without going on too much of a different tangent from your family life, but I always think whatever I'm asking anyone else to do, or whatever I want them to aspire to do, I will do it first. I will take that leap. I will go above the trench, put my head above the parapet, and actually, people follow that. People respect that, don't they?
100%. The whole thing of leadership is to inspire.
Yeah.
Inspire people that actually kind of move forward and be authentic with what they believe to be true.
Yeah.
But it was ridiculous. And then I look back now, and like 8 years in business, and I'm like, yeah, it was ridiculous, but it's been one hell of an adventure.
Yeah. So when you set your business up as a sole trader initially, then you got your office space, and then so at this point, I'm assuming you were counselling a couple of clients a week type of thing. Is that sort of what happened? And then how did you get to where you are now, I guess?
Well, because I kind of already knew, because I looked at the numbers and everything, and I thought, well, you know what, the numbers aren't going to match if I'm just going to kind of see new clients. I would have to see a stupid amount of clients to make numbers match and hit how I wanted to live a life. So I started thinking, well, you know what, I've got to look at other revenue streams. Okay. So that's when I started looking at other counsellors. So if I decide, right, I want to build a brand, so that's where kind of Lighthouse Therapy Group came into play. I want to build a brand, and I want people to buy into a brand. Yeah. So I needed other counsellors. So I wanted other counsellors who could kind of buy into the brand.
Love that.
They can kind of work with me. When people come to Lighthouse Therapy Group, I can actually work as a referral partner. Yeah. I can say, well, you know what, what I used to do is I used to do the initial consultations with everybody. And I used to know the counsellors who I kind of took on. I'm like, you'd be a good fit for them. You'd be a good fit for them. And then I kind of refer them that way. They would then get a fee for seeing this client, and then take a bit off the top. That then becomes a revenue stream. So I've still got my private clients, then I've got a kind of bit off the top here, so there's a referral stream. And then I thought, well, you know what, I need more referral streams. And I do believe that's one of the key things, and COVID taught us that. If you've got everything in one kind of revenue stream, if something happens that affects that revenue stream, you're knackered. So you have to have the multiple. So that's when I started looking bigger. So kind of, well, okay, my associate counsellors, they can come on board with us, but you know what, I've built this brand, I'm going to give you a proper domain name, I'm going to give you access to a Google suite, I'm going to give you access to a booking system, but you're going to have to pay me. You know, I've built this brand, if you want to be part of Lighthouse Therapy Group, it's going to cost. So there was another revenue stream. So I've got counsellors paying me, so that's a revenue stream. I've got referrals coming in, that's a revenue stream. I've got my own work, that's a revenue stream. And then it got to a point where we're now where we are in Washington, where I'm actually kind of hiring out rooms as well. So I've got other counsellors kind of hiring out rooms, so there's another revenue stream. So that's how everything kind of grew. But when I was still at the BIC, very, very early stages, I did decide to set up a social enterprise as well, which was Lighthouse Adventures CIC. And we did a fair bit with that.
What was the thinking behind the CIC? How did you get to that? I guess this is one of the reasons we got you on the pod. Actually, it's about that. Was this about your give back? Would you say, and your kind of you want to do something good? I guess not that you weren't doing good, but something extra.
Well, it's because I looked at the whole kind of counselling structure, the whole mental health structure, and there were so many people getting lost in the system. So what I want to do is I want to kind of create something that could help our communities. And it wasn't to say, we're going to solve everything, we're going to kind of make everything okay. It was simply to say we're going to create something where people can have a place to come, where they can access some help. So we might, even if we just help a small portion of people, at least we're doing something. And I found I wanted to do that because it actually kind of fitted there. I felt good.
And do you think this was, probably a little bit of this was because you'd maybe not been such a nice person towards the end of your Navy time, you were fighting, drinking, doing whatever else. Do you think some of this was not guilt, but maybe a bit of actually, I want to do something that's actually really nice, and actually I've got this nice business that does nice things anyway, but do you think that was a part of it maybe, or?
100%. Because it's like, I look back in the things I've done, and I've done things I'm not proud of. I've been a person which I've not been proud of. And I'm like, if I've got the ability to kind of maybe make amends, rectify, maybe not, but if I do something, and somebody else gets some help from something I've done, then it kind of goes a bit of a way of kind of rebuilding my sense of worth, my sense of self-esteem. And we did really well with it. And the whole kind of the kind of vision behind Lighthouse Adventures is something which I really believe in about mental health. It's we need adventure, we need play. That life is way too serious at the minute. We need adventure and we need play. And when we applied for some national lottery funding, it was just after the first lockdown from COVID. We applied for some national lottery funding, we got it, we got 10 grand. And what we did is we created a program called Reconnecting Our Key Workers. Because our nurses and everything, they were kind of getting pulled away from the families. And they were kind of getting to say, well, you've got to stay in the hospital, you've got to do all this work and everything. The kids and all that are at home, all of a sudden mum or dad is just gone. The house is chaos. So what we said is, because I knew from my military time, when you're in the point of crisis, everything will click, everything will just go. the real challenge is after the crisis.
Okay.
So when everything starts kind of settling down. So when the nurses and everything finally were going home, well, that's when everything starts dropping a bit. And you think, oh shit, what the frick's going on here?
Yeah.
So what we did is we offered completely free counselling for key workers, nurses and everything. We offered completely free encounter groups where we built counselling support groups facilitated by qualified counsellors. And we also put on family activities. So what we did is we said, right, let's get your kids, let's get your partner, and we're going to go into the wilderness. So what we used to do is we used to take them for hikes through the woods. We used to teach all the kids how to safely set fire. We used to teach them how to cook over the fire. We also taught them how to track different animals by the poo. And they loved that bit. So we used to say, well, if you've got this big poo, that might be a fox or something. If you've got this little poo, it might be a rabbit. So that they're rummaging through. And this is kids and parents. Rummaging through trying to find shit. But the whole concept around it was adventure and play. So that was a concept behind Lighthouse Adventure CIC, and that was the backstory of it. But what mainly Lighthouse Adventure CIC allowed us to do was to connect with other third sector organisations. So we could turn around to different charities and say, well, you know what, we can actually take over your counselling headache. You've got your service users. I mean, one of the main ones that we got very early on was the If You Care Share Foundation. And we turn around and says, send us your service users. We can provide counselling, because at that point we were now taking on student counsellors who can provide counselling support. We can help your service users. We can help students get qualified. We can take because what we did is for charities, and we charge a very small rate. Instead of charging a full rate, we only charge £35 a session. That £35 a session helps that whole process and actually gets put back into the community. And the whole thing just worked. So because of that, we've now, I think Lindsay was going through the files the other day, we've now helped just shy of 1,000 people actually access completely free counselling support. Just in the Washington area.
That's awesome. Honestly, man, that's. And do you know what? I go back to this, and this is why we started at the beginning and where you came from. Look at your humble beginnings, to where you are, man. Like that's aspirational stuff, like Mark. That's incredible. And I bet young Mark Walsh, young squaddy Mark Walsh, never ever thought that he was going to have his name above a door and have this. I mean, this is what Archie wants. This is the life that Archie's looking up to. I mean, you've got to be proud, man. You've got to be proud.
I still pinch myself, and it's like, and I look at everything we do and everything we've done and that we continue to do, and the past is a blur. Where I am, I mean, 8 years we've been in business now, and we've had a pandemic, we've had a Brexit, we've had various elections, we've had a cost of living crisis, and I'm still going. And it comes back to something you said earlier on, and say, I am a shite businessman. I'm so bad at business, but I have ideas. And if you have ideas and the courage to actually just kind of chase something, that's when magic can happen.
I love that. One of the things you alluded to as well is building connections, and I know that networking is something that's really helped you get to where you've gotten to, not only business-wise but personally as well. So just talk us briefly through kind of networking and the value that you've seen it, because I know it's something that's huge to you, isn't it? And still to this day, it has been all through your journey, hasn't it?
Well, because it was actually it's funny stories, because when I first set up, I knew I just needed to meet people. I couldn't explain why or anything. I just knew I had to be in a room with people. I had to kind of learn. I had to kind of experience other people. And it was actually at the BIC. And the turnaround says, well, we've got this kind of residential course, and that they said it's up at It's up at a dodgy hotel in Newcastle. You're going to be put in a room and we're going to teach you all these different things and everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're going to be amongst all these other businesses, all these instructors, and it's going to be really good for you, help you set up a business. Okay, I'll sign up for that. You didn't get a certificate out of it. Oh, great, excellent certificate. Off I go. And off I went on this kind of networking workshop. And I sat there on the first kind of, when I first got there, I sat there in this kind of reception area, and this very, very strange bloke came and sat next to me.
He was good looking though.
Oh, he was good looking. He had all the patter and everything. But he come and sat next to us now, and he says, "Oh, what's your name?" I says, "I'm Mark." He says, "Oh, I'm Anth." And I'm like, "Oh." And I guess everybody knows by now it was actually you. So,
Yeah.
but it was that moment,
Yeah.
from a networking event,
Yeah.
from a workshop.
Yeah.
If you put yourself in a position where you're going to come into contact with people,
Yeah.
so much can happen.
Yeah.
You know, and now we've been friends now for 8 years.
Yeah, long time. And do you know what? I agree. And I just think, I've always said I'm not an expert at anything, right? I'm not, right? But I know lots of people, and I never burn my bridges. I never over promise. I never under deliver. I keep people, you know, I make sure I'm pally with people. Not that I'm being false or fake, but I'm just like to be nice to people, because actually I know that many people now that I know if I don't know about X, Y, or Z, I can call X, Y, or Z person and they can help me. Because actually people are what help other people grow. You know, you can have your head in it. For me, putting my head in a textbook and reading the, you know, the A to Z on business wouldn't work for me, right? Wouldn't work for me. It's why I was the world's worst medic for the first couple of years of my armed forces career. Give me a textbook, I ain't got a clue, right? But if you talk to me about it, or you show me things, or I can watch somebody, that's how I learn. And actually, that's how, you know, I'm like you, I'm a keen networker. I've got a fantastic network, really proud of everybody that I know. And I just try and help people where I can, because ultimately it comes back round. But for me, you know, having that network is the most powerful thing, not only in business, but in life. I mean, me and you are really good friends now, and I've got lots of friends who I've met via work and via networking, which is incredible to lots of people, I think.
It's without doubt the most effective business tool you can ever have.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it's people. You know, so I go to network, and I went to a networking event, and I met a young lad, who I actually delivered pizzas with, going back 17 years. And I was like, "Fuck, you're alright, mate." And he's now got a mortgage broker.
Brilliant.
So I met up with him 8 years ago. You know, and I'm like, "Wow, how's things going?" And that's evolved now to a point where I actually holiday with him. You know, he's got a couple of young kids. I've got Archie. The kids get on well. We socialise and everything. It all just evolves. And then if you've got the ability, and don't get us wrong, it's so uncomfortable.
It's daunting. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Go in a room full of people you don't know, and kind of tell them about you.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. But if you can master that ability, then the potential is just huge.
And what would you say is your kind of top tip for networking? If you had one tip, what was that kind of that thing that you would tell people? What would you say? This is what I would advise when you're looking at connecting with other people.
Business second, people first.
Love, yeah, completely, 100%, yeah.
It's like let them know a bit about you. Ask them something about them. Where have you come from? What do you do? You know, but how did you find the place this morning? Well, I like your shirt. Nice shirt.
Yeah.
Just make it human.
People make that mistake, don't they, in networking, and often it's probably getting better now. But I remember years ago, and you'll have had this. You go in, and it was often gas and electric companies or people who were like, you know, mega sales focused. And I remember going to Stadium of Light, and this lady came over to me, and I was watching her go around the room. She would walk up to people, "Hi, I'm such and such. I'm from such and such. Who does your gas and electric?" Right, that was it. Right, I've never seen anything like it in my life. Like, I've never seen anything since, to be fair. I've seen similar though. And I remember just being really pissed off and thinking, "Hang on a minute, whoa." at least tickle us a bit here. Like, at least pretend you like us. But what was even worse was she asked me the question. As soon as she had no interest in me, she literally turned her back and moved around. Now, I've seen this individual over the years move to multiple jobs, never actually stays anywhere long because she's not making those. I can see that she has this mindset, and it doesn't work. It's about the human element, which is something you're really keen on, but it's about, business second. You know what? You might walk in a room with 100 people. You might not ever do any business with those people for 20 years. It's all right. Because in 20 years, you might bump into someone and go, actually, hello, Mr. or Mrs. Such and Such, remember me? Yeah, let's do this, and off you go. And that's what I always say to people.
But it's interesting. I mean, it was a couple of years ago now. I went to a networking event at City Hall, and it was when they were putting out some big tenders. Now, I mean, I wasn't going to pitch for any of these tenders. These were far too big. I mean, these were multi-million-pound tenders. Yeah. And I was in the room, and there was all these kind of big outfits. They're going to be pitching for these tenders. Yeah. And I got chatting to them. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, just chatting and socialising. And you know me, I always like to have the humour, I always like to have the banter. Yeah. And one of them turns and says, oh, can I set up a meeting with you? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Says, oh, well, it would be online though, because we're actually based in Scotland. Okay. Yeah, on Zoom's no problem at all. So it was a couple of weeks later, I had this Zoom meeting with them, and it was simply just chatting, and they were chatting about mental health and everything, and what I thought about mental health, and I give some of my sometimes kind of outside the box thoughts on mental health, and it was just basic conversation. And it was something like just shy of a year later after that meeting, I got an email from a lad called Marty, and he turned around and says, hi Mark, just to let you know that we've actually won a tender through Sunderland City Council, and we were really keen with the conversation that our executives had with you, and we'd like you to be our mental health provider for this contract. I was like, who the hell have I been talking to us? And I was saying, have they got the right person? And it turns out it was, and they were actually the Wise Group, based out of Glasgow. We won that contract with them. That set us up for 2 years. And it was because of that contract that our profits went up such a margin that we had to then be forced to go VAT registered, and then had to kind of take on extra associate counsellors. They had 2 years of kind of real solid employment. I mean, I don't employ them; they're all self-employed, but they had really good income for 2 years, and our businesses went whoosh. And it started from a moment in a networking event.
Chance, in many ways.
Yeah. And this is what people don't realise, that life is a sequence of moments.
Of course it is. You've got to put yourself
in moments.
Yeah, you can't win the jackpot unless you get a ticket, and it's the same in business, isn't it? You can't meet somebody who might be able to send your business into the stratosphere unless you're in that room. It's as simple as that. And it's kind of what you said right at the beginning, which is quite a nice kind of way to kind of go full circle. But you said, it's Saturday, you're up here doing this, you know what, this might not come to anything. It might just be 2 people might listen, and my mum and dad might listen to it, right? And they might be like, oh, that was quite nice, son. Fine, doesn't matter, right? But at the same time, somebody might listen to it, they might learn something, and actually they might go, do you know what, that Mark Geezy, he was all right, him. Actually, I need a bit of this or a bit of that. You just never know, but you have to put yourself into those situations.
And it's what's known as a ripple effect.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So it's a, you take one action, and then that ripple effect can create so much. So like you say there, somebody might turn around and say, well, that Mark seems a decent bloke, I might kind of, and I've been struggling, so I might give them a bell.
Correct.
So therefore, I've got a new client. Now, anybody might think, well, one client, it's not going to kind of set your business on fire. I'm like, well, okay. But I might have a good relationship with that one client.
Yeah.
They might then have a connection with somebody at Nissan.
Correct.
Yeah. There might be the head of HR or some executive in Nissan. Oh, I had this council session with this bloke and he was brilliant.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I'm in Nissan. Yeah. They say, well, can you provide mental health support for our workers?
Yeah. So there you go, Mr. and Mrs. Nissan, if you're out there, Mark would really like to work with you. He's having a go. I'll do a bit on the side as well. Yeah. No, but you're right. You're right. You just, I said it there, you've got to be in it to win it. You really are. Well, we're kind of coming to the end, which is a shame because I could just chat to you all day. But before we do, we always ask a couple of questions to our guests. The first one is our egg-themed moment. So what's your scrambled egg moment? So you've had a really wide and varied career life. What would you say has been that moment in maybe business or in your personal life where things weren't going so well and you did something to change it? And what would be that advice you would pass on? So what's your scrambled egg moment?
Ooh. Ooh. Well, it's interesting. I mean, we've talked a lot about people, haven't we? And surrounding yourself with the correct people. Yeah. It would be a miss not to highlight that sometimes we get surrounded by some maybe bad people.
Definitely, yeah.
And you know, when I open myself up to kind of taking students and everything in, and other counsellors and everything, and I have been burnt a few times by people. You know, I've kind of welcomed people in, I've tried to help people, and they've burnt me, and it's hurt.
Yeah.
And to a point at times where it's actually become personal, because it's like ultimately I just want to help people.
Yeah.
And then I am an acquired taste. Yeah. Saying not everybody likes us, and I'm like fine, no problem. My intention is never ever to kind of upset or anybody get kind of harmed by anything I see or think or do. But some people in the past have burnt us.
Yeah.
The way to have resolved that is to allow that process. To not try and kind of deny it, not to try and kind of really figure out or try and mend a relationship or kind of say, well, what's going on? Why have you been like this? It's been a process of saying, well, you know what, I just need to let that go. Yeah. Not everybody is meant to be kind of together. Sometimes relationships don't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been trying hard to work on the fact of letting some relationships go. So that's been one of the hardest learnings for me in business.
That's really good advice. Yeah. Not everybody is a good egg, and actually ultimately sometimes you just can't take people down the right path with you, and actually you've just got to discard's probably a harsh word, but sometimes you've just got to burn off those bad bits of toast, really, haven't you?
Yeah. But I go down this path, they go down that path. It's life. You know, not everybody is compatible. You know, so and that's not to say these are bad people or anything.
No.
Because you know some of the people that have kind of upset us or burnt us in the past. You know, they're going on and doing some lovely, great things. Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just me and them are not compatible.
Love that. Good advice. And my last question is, what would you say and you, by the way, you've given loads of helpful nuggets throughout this pod, so thank you so much. But what would you say is your golden egg? What's your golden bit of advice you'd give to anyone, probably starting up a business, but again, it could be in life. What's your golden egg that you would offer?
Well, I've just given you scrambled egg. The positive one is the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
It's exactly the same thing. I can't allow myself to be kind of influenced too much by, things that didn't work.
Yeah.
So it's like if somebody kind of burns me or upsets me, I'm like, okay, I've got to let that go. But I still need to have the door open. I still need to have good people coming in. And I can only figure out if they're good people or not by building that relationship and going through that experience. Yeah. And now, every now and then I do kind of presentations about Lighthouse Therapy Group, and I bring up the team slide.
Yeah.
And I think off the top of my head, I've got the board there, 2, 4, 6. In total, in the Lighthouse kind of family, there's 14 of us.
Wow.
And they're all kind of self-employed. We've got Lindsay, who's my other half. She looks after the office and everything. And we've got other counsellors that hire rooms. We've got a family. So whenever that slide comes up, and I look at these people, and I really believe in these people, to a point where we're actually expanding our company, and I'm kind of actually in a way dividing Lighthouse Therapy Group up a bit, and I'm giving them different kind of departments. I'm like, I believe in you. You go and create this. So we've got Hermione, she's creating a kind of neurodivergence department. We've got Tracy, she's building a life therapeutic coaching department. We've got Jo, who's man as a ship's cat, and she's heading up our Lighthouse Community Fund. Because with Lighthouse Adventure CIC closing, we've now decided to be a business with social responsibility. So 10% of all our profit is getting put back into our community. So Joe's heading up the Lighthouse Community Fund. We've also got Amy, who's going to be heading up our training department.
Amazing.
So the good thing is, which I'm really proud of, is I found these people.
Yeah.
And
Found your
these
tribe.
are going to kind of head up things, which can only take Lighthouse Therapy Group even further.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, you know what? What a story. Seriously, Mark, you should be so proud, man, of you, your team, family, everything you've achieved. Like, you know, if your dad was here now, he must just be thinking, Christ alive.
There's the cry, Jan.
for a ginger bastard who went and travelled the world, you've done all right. Like, well, honestly, man, it's amazing. Like, and fair play to you. But all that's left for me to say really is thank you so much for being open, honest, and having the conversation. And thank you so much for being a good egg. Hopefully, you've enjoyed it.
I've loved it.
Good.
Next time.
We'll have to do a part 2 because otherwise we'll be on for about 6 hours. But honestly, thank you so much for being a good egg, and I shall catch you soon. But brilliant. Cheers for that, Mark.
And thank you, Wans, for being a good egg as well.
Don't be daft, man. Cheers, man. Take it easy, buddy.
Cheers, Mara.
Ta-da.